mission is to break the idea that women should be anything, right? You should be an entrepreneur, you should be a mother. At the end of the day, it really is, what do you want to be? I'm trying to throw a stone in the ocean and create a tsunami. Keep asking yourself questions. Well, why do you believe that? Why is that true? Is that really what you want? And in the questions come your answers. Failure can be the best freaking lesson ever. What's up?
There she is, Lisa Bilyeu in the house. How you doing?
Hello, honey. Good to see you.
If you don't know Lisa, co-founder of Impact Theory, she has her own YouTube channel as well called Women of Impact, which I love. I love that we're showcasing more women entrepreneurs. And I actually wanted to talk to you today about women entrepreneurship. So one of the biggest fights to get into with my team is that we don't profile enough women on the channel.
Okay.
So every time we're doing like a mashup video or a top 10 rules video, it's mostly guys. And when we're doing like a billionaire mashup, okay, there aren't as many women billionaires to start with. But on all the other videos, like we need to put a woman in there, and we fight constantly. A challenge is there's just not enough content. There's just not enough women stepping up and making content. So there's you, there's Marie Forleo, there's Mel Robbins, and then it like pretty quickly falls off. Where if you look to the guys, there's just so much more.
Right.
Why is that? And how do we fix it?
That's amazing. God, that's a really good question. I'm working every day to figure out how we fix that. I think the thing right now is, women are now stepping into owning who they are. And it's only really been a recent thing, so even take my own history of creating, co-founder of Quest Nutrition. That took me, 10 years to actually finally step into that role and then evolve as a person and then step out of it and say, okay, this is who I am. So when you think about, as the discussion gets more and more now about women stepping into their own, I can see in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, it starts to be like, you won't be asking that question. And part of my own personal mission is to break the idea that women should be anything, right? You should be an entrepreneur, you should be a mother. At the end of the day, it really is, what do you want to be? And so for the women that are finally saying, oh, I want to be in business, I want to be an entrepreneur, now they're stepping into it. And maybe it's just like, now they're just stepping into it on step one. So again, like in a couple of years, you'll start to see, hopefully, more and more women allowing themselves to step into whatever role they actually desire versus the role that their history or their parents or, their culture has put upon them. So it's this really exciting time.
Were you a Star Trek fan, or are you a Star Trek fan?
I'm not.
Okay. Do you know Lieutenant Uhura?
I'm so curious on where this is going.
Yeah. It just inspired a thought. Do you know Lieutenant Uhura?
No.
Okay, so the original Star Trek is Captain Kirk, and then Spock.
Okay.
And then Lieutenant Uhura. So she was third in command of the ship. And at the time, it was crazy that a black woman would be in charge of anything, let alone like this futuristic, spaceship. Was crazy. And Lieutenant Uhura wanted to quit the show after the first season to go back to Broadway, which she loved. And Martin Luther King went to go visit her and said, what you're doing for the black community is too important, and you have to keep going. And so she stuck with it for the 6 seasons of original Star Trek. And my favorite part of that was, because at the time, a black woman on TV is going to be a maid or a servant or just like low-level work. Whoopi Goldberg, you know Whoopi Goldberg, right? Famous actress. She saw Lieutenant Uhura on TV and called her mom, like, Mommy, there's a black woman on TV and she ain't no maid. And it inspired her to go and become an actress. And so I see that in like what you're doing, and that you are yourself being a badass. I love the Wonder Woman stuff you put in now. Like, I think this should be your middle name. It's like Lisa Wonder Woman Bilyeu. There it is.
There it is.
The necklace, the signs. If you follow her on Instagram, you'll see tons of content with Wonder Woman there. And I see that with what you're doing, but also the guests that you're bringing on to shine a light on people that say, like, look, this is what's possible. But how far away do you think it is? Like, is there just something that is women? Do you find women are just different or have different sets of beliefs that are harder to overcome? Or Or is it just, you think it's all going to become even in 20 years?
Oh, I guess it depends on what you mean even. Really, for me, it's about not even saying women should be doing one thing or another. It's about just giving people permission. And I can only take it from my stance from growing up. It's like growing up, I didn't really see that. I didn't see, you know, you had maybe one or two women. I mean, obviously, growing up in England, you saw Margaret Thatcher, you know, you saw Princess Diana really stepping into her own, but none of that actually ever felt tangible, right? It was always the, you know, superstars on the big screen, or, you know, the really high level, and then everybody else is how I felt. And so I would see the everybody else was like, well, I didn't grow up in that. That isn't my world, so I can't be that. And really what I freaking love about social media, and I know a lot of people hate on social media, but I'm always just like, the beauty that it has brought is to show the everyday person, right? And I even think of myself as an absolute everyday person. I grew up in a house in London, in North London. I wanted to be in the movie industry, and everyone was like, who the hell do you know in Hollywood? You know, what right do you have going to America? You don't know anyone. How are you going to get a visa? It was all this like negativity. And I just was stubborn enough to keep going. And I didn't have really anyone to model on. And I think that that's important on what social media is doing today, is that showing that you've got these women like Sarah Blakely. I mean, that woman is so freaking amazing. Her story of how she, you know, went door to door, knocking on doors to sell fax machines, to then literally building $1 billion company. Like, those are the stories that I think are so freaking motivating now to anyone listening, to, you know, women out there that believe they can't. It's like, if you believe you can't, look at this person, look at this person, look at this person. It's, you know, the 4-minute mile, right? It's like some people just need someone to say it's possible, then to show it's possible, and then other people are going to step into it. And that's really what I love about the show, is bringing all different kinds of women on, from, you know, billionaires, women that have sold $1 billion companies, to, you know, to people who are psychotherapists, to, you know, just every single woman you can possibly. I just had a woman on that was from the Secret Service agency.
Okay.
Like, that's amazing. I'm looking for someone who's a firefighter. So in fact, if anyone's watching right now, I'm looking for a female firefighter. Like, I'm really just wanting to showcase women that are making a difference and coming into their own. And the more people I can get on the show that show that, I'm really hoping that one person's going to resonate with someone, right? Like Oprah. Oprah saw that one person that she resonated with, and it freaking changed her life. And so if I can be a part of that and bringing women on that someone can resonate with, to show, oh, it is possible, that can then have that ripple effect. I always like to say, like, I'm trying to throw a stone in the ocean and create a tsunami. And so how do you create that tsunami? It really is, you know, helping other people have a platform to speak their story. And so going back to your question is, I'm just hoping, like, I'm hoping, and really I'm very optimistic, that in 5 to 10 years that we won't be discussing, is it possible? You know, it's just going to be. So that's my goal, that, you know, this discussion of why aren't there more women in the space is never said again, because in 10 years it's just a given.
I love it. So badass women firefighters. I'm taking a note. I might be able to hook you up with that one. I got some there. What else? What other kinds of people or individuals are you trying to get on the show?
So yeah, really, I mean, I want feedback from anyone. Who do you think is empowering? So when I was going through, who are the people that are incredible? So I think about the people, like buckets and categories, right? So you've got the celebrities who are just doing amazing things with their platform to create attention, right? Selena Gomez and things like that, where they're so honest and transparent about their struggles. And so then I think about, well, who are the everyday person that aren't necessarily told, wow, you're impactful. But to me, it's like, you can't live without these women, right? So firefighters, ER, like brain surgeon, right? Like, you're messing with someone's brain, one little slip of the hand and, you know, it's over, but you're actually freaking saving lives. Like, that is so powerful to me. I'm actually looking for, I had a Secret Service agent, any type of detective, like specifically serial killers. I know a lot of women that love serial killers.
Okay.
I'm into serial killers. So there's that podcast show where it's to make, oh God, what is it? Anyone that knows what podcast I'm talking about serial killers, throw it in the comments below. But there's 2 women hosts. And so those women I'd love to get on, because it just, again, like they're bringing subjects to the forefront to discuss. And when I think about just serial killers or anything like that, I'm just like, I want to know. Like when I'm by myself walking down an alley, I want to know what the things I need to look out for. People that do self-defense. I mean, I could keep going on and on about all the different areas. Astronauts, any woman that's just in there, like really trying to create and do something new and unique, or save lives.
I love it. All right. Took some notes. Hopefully the people watching here and on YouTube will take some notes and hit you up as well. What made the difference for you? So you're in England, you got all these negative beliefs. I can't get a visa. How am I going to get there? I want to go to California. What then actually sparked the shift in you? Because I think that's what so many people are missing.
So even though I had a lot of the negativity, first of all, the first thing is that I had to understand that the negativity wasn't about me. It wasn't like you're not capable. And I think that when people say things like, oh, it's not possible, I think it's out of their own fear. And so I had to detach myself from what the message and then the messenger. So the message is, oh, it's difficult. Okay, well, do I believe it's difficult? If I believe it's difficult, if I believe it's not possible, then guess what? It's not going to be possible. But then the messenger itself, so hearing these beliefs from my dad, from just friends, from people at school, it's like, why did they believe it's not possible? Is it a reflection of them? Because if they believe it's not possible, it gives them permission to say, that's why I didn't try, right? That reflection thing. So I was like, okay, I think that there's a real fear where if the fact that I think it's possible is making them feel less, and I obviously don't want that, but I can't live to their framework. And then also, let's take my dad, for instance. The man loves me more than life itself. And he told Tom, don't marry her. He told me I was crazy in marrying Tom. Well, 19 years later, I think I made the right decision. Right? Going into Quest Nutrition, he was like, what on earth do you guys know about protein bars? Why are you giving up the lifestyle that you've just spent the last 8 years, developing? You're risking your house. So all that negativity, like, is that because he doesn't love me, or is that because he doesn't believe in me? Or is that a reflection of his belief system that women should be at home, nothing against him. That's just the culture he was raised in. And then also his understanding of the world. So he came from a tiny, tiny village in Cyprus. And so for him, it was like every penny you can earn is a roof over your head. It's food on the table. So why would you ever risk that? So I had to detach myself from the message he was trying to give me, and then the messenger, just be empathetic to where he's coming from, be respectful to where he's coming from, because that's his point of view, but to not fall into the trap of what he says is gospel, right? And what his advice is gospel. And so that took me a long time to separate the two. But once I did, I started to really be able to lean into what my belief system was, what I think is possible, and to just keep going. And so that was a massive fundamental change in listening to people and saying, this is how my life is, versus no, I don't have to listen to them. And what do I want my life to be?
And so how do you actually make that distinction between message and messenger? Because it makes sense talking about it, but it's so hard for people to do. And people are stuck living in the world of what their parents say or what their friends say. But you broke out, and especially in a time when it wasn't so normal to break out, right? So like, how did you actually get the awareness that there's a difference?
So I think I'm a dreamer. So that's just part of my personality. So as a dreamer growing up, I was told all these things, you're going to be a stay-at-home wife. And again, nothing it was meant to trap me. It's just what I was being told. You're going to be a stay-at-home wife. As a good Greek girl, you support your husband, you have the kids, you maintain the family. That is your role. So I was having this input. But the dreamer on me was like, I want to win an Academy Award, and I want to, be an American. I love Los Angeles. I want to be part of the film industry. So I had these two competing ideas that I would really struggle with. And so I'd be like, okay, first of all, it started off, how can I do both? Right? Like, okay, yeah, of course I want kids. And of course I want to support my husband, but of course I'm going to make movies. Then when I actually sat down, I was like, how do you actually do this? I just started to break it apart and be like, okay, well, I'm still young. If I made it to America by this day, and if I had an Academy Award by this day, then I could have my children. So almost like try to fit everything in. And then just as I was getting older, as I was growing, becoming and really identifying who is Lisa, Not who does everyone want Lisa to be, but who am I actually? I started to go, well, maybe I don't want that. Is that actually, like, can I actually question whether I should be a stay-at-home mother or not? And then as I was asking myself that question, I was like, well, why can't I question it? Why can't I decide to not have children? And so that question started to seep into my mind. And so when I started to say, well, why can't I not have children? And then I started to play back, oh, I've never even thought about this, because for the last 25, 30 years, I've been told I'm going to be this. And so in just asking the question helped me really get my thoughts together. So that's actually one thing. Anyone watching right now, if you're struggling with someone, just keep asking yourself questions. Well, why do you believe that? Why is that true? Is that really what you want? And in the questions come your answers. You know, I had a guest on, Cynthia Pasquella Garcia, and the one thing I freaking love that she kept saying is, I wonder. Ask yourself, I wonder what would happen if I do this. I wonder if I was this, what that would mean. I wonder why I'm having this feeling. I wonder why when that person says to me, oh, you're a stay-at-home wife, that it kind of stung a bit. You know, like, I wonder why I'm having that feeling. And it just starts to really lay out all of your thoughts in a non-judgmental way, because you're just answering the question versus putting the judgment on yourself of like, oh, I shouldn't feel like that.
So using that word wonder, when in your life did Wonder Woman become such a integral role?
That's interesting. The funny thing is I actually never even put those two together. That's so weird. So here's the thing with Wonder Woman. It's not even Wonder Woman herself that I'm like, oh my God, she's so amazing. It's what she symbolizes. And when I started to grow up and see what the input is, like where I'm getting all the feedback, where I'm, hearing about women should be stay-at-home wives, and when I'm hearing about this, it's like, where is it actually coming from? What is the source that you're consuming that makes you feel a certain way? And so when I started to recognize that the external sources were my choice, and that I can mute them. I can stop following people on Instagram that don't empower me. I can stop listening to the people. I can detach myself from friends that are not empowering me, that are not encouraging me to be the person I want, and surround myself with people that are. I started to feel like that was a freaking superpower. Like that, this is a tool that we all have that we don't use. And so when I started to look at Wonder Woman and why I was gravitating towards her, it wasn't even her herself, it's what she stood for, right? So I wear the necklace around my neck to just remind myself that the power is all mine, right? I even say at the end of every episode of Women of Impact that be the hero of your own life. And so I really believe I am the hero of my own life. And I waited for so long to get saved, to be rescued, right? Disney has the whole mythology that women wait around for the prince to come and rescue her. And it's like, I've been fed crap all my life. I don't have to sit here and wait for someone to come and save me. I can freaking save myself. And so for me, Wonder Woman is a symbol of that we shouldn't wait to be saved, that we all have the power within ourselves. And so part of my mission going, even beyond just the show, as you know, we have a graphic novel and we're really getting into that space.